So we are live on Instagram as well.
Which one is the Zoom? Go to the Zoom.
So we are here today on a happy hour. Hello Instagram. This is a very last moment. We were gonna do a Facebook live and we felt very adventurous.
Let's do Instagram.
And technology
also.
is not my thing, and I'm here. So we are here in a conversation about happiness in a happy hour time. Welcome everyone. I'm so excited to start my series of happy hours that decided to do every Friday, to invite different people just to create a space for a conversation that is so much needed. Someone said to me the other day, "Oh my God, it's so special that you continue working on happiness, especially right now." I know the challenges and I understand that happiness can be something very challenging right now. That's why we're here, and I'm here with someone who has told me so much about happiness. This house has hosted me so many times. I have learned so much through Menachi, and I'm so happy that I'm starting my conversation and my first live with someone who I respect, admire, and love very much. Thank you, Menachi, for the invitation and for the opportunity to be back in your space and allowing everyone to see the magic that you offer to so many.
And I'm so happy also, Andreina, because I also respect you so much and love and like. Yeah, because I've seen so many wonderful beauties about you. I've seen how you have flowered and grown, and how you always show happiness in so many different ways. And you've stayed with the same focus that you always had from the beginning.
So thank you for for that. We don't really have a script because we talk a little, of course, what we wanted to say, but we wanted to just create a space because why happiness? You know, so much that is needed right now, and people keep asking me to create a space for a conversation. So for those on Instagram that are joining us, my phone is a little bit further away, so I cannot type much, but I'm so happy that you joined. Bring your happy hour, snacks, drinks, whatever you have. We have tea, so our happiness is all natural. So, but welcome to this space, and I wanted to start with a question: why happiness? And maybe before why happiness, what is happiness for you? And if you want to tell people about yourself too, if you want them to know a little bit about what you do.
Well, I'm Meenakshi. And what I want to actually jump into the question of happiness, because for me, I remember when I was in my maybe 40s, and my sister gave me the book The Art of Happiness by Dalai Lama. And all my life I've been very interested in going after the truth, in understanding universal laws. And when I got that book, I said, how strange, why is it even important to go after happiness? You can just feel happy the way you are. Why do you have to go? But what I remember is that I didn't give it importance. And then but I had children, and I realized that I always want my children to be happy. So how come I'm not wanting myself to be happy? So that reaction that I had of not giving importance to happiness, thinking that it's something not very spiritual, not serious enough, made me understand that I have to understand this a little bit more. And now I understand that happiness is like when you feel happy, you know you're doing something right. You know that everything in your life that you're striving to is okay. And when you allow yourself to be happy, you allow your children to be happy. You don't stop them from being happy.
That's very
What
important.
about you, Andreina? How did you get focused on happiness?
Yes, that's actually a question I get to be asked all the time. So I started happiness when I was 11. Since I was little, I felt the need I was curious about going deep and understanding happiness, and I have an aunt who is an artist, but we used to exchange books about, you know, going in and working on yourself and finding happiness, and we used to talk about happiness. So at 11 I started the conversation of happiness and being curious about it. And throughout life, you know, of course, different experiences and situations made me really go deeper and create more of happiness for myself. And one thing that I remember that you said to me one time, and I just want to say, Menashi has been my Reiki teacher, my Sujok teacher. That is a practice that I now promote that has helped so many people. And she's a guide, she's a friend for me now. She's someone that I have learned so much, and to be sitting with someone who also is a psychologist. She works in different industries. And one time you said to me, we need more than just psychology or one practice to help people, because there is so much going on. And that's when you introduced me to Reiki and Sujok. And why so much to have different techniques, and why do we need to work on ourselves? It's something that sometimes people say, I'm fine the way I am. So why do we even need to bother to go in?
You know, I was thinking about that today. There's a time, let's say you're a child and you're very happy with everything that's happening in your life, but outside circumstances keep changing, and suddenly you find yourself not happy. When you come to that point, then you know that I have to work on myself. So it's not like you keep working, it's because something inside you keeps changing as you keep growing and as things inside and outside change. Because even though happiness, as we say, is an inside job, but inside, what is inside shows outside. So when things outside you are not going the way you want them to go, you know that something inside you must change. And one of the things I like to say is, because not just enough to be happy sometimes, but you have to sustain your happiness. You have to have that sustained feeling, and that only comes if you keep changing something within yourself, changing your vibration.
Yeah, that's very important, especially right now. And you said something about being a mom. So many mothers and fathers who feel guilty because they take the time to work on themselves or find that space for themselves. And it's so important that you said that you realized that if you were happier, your kids were going to be happier as well.
Yeah.
So you wanted to say something else?
Yeah, because you know, I remember once, and parents always say we want our children to be happy. We want you to do A, B, and C because we want you to be happy. So we start putting certain parameters around happiness. We say you will be happy if you get good grades. You will be happy if you go the way society wants you to go. And I remember once my daughter was laughing, you know, and I went to her, Yashodhara, have you done your homework? And she said, Mom, whenever I laugh, you come in and you ask me something about my school. And I realize it's true. We say we want our children to be happy, but we think that they will only be happy under certain circumstances. So I really love that if you are normally an inside happy person, you will not mind your child telling you what actually makes them happy, and so you won't mind changing the way you behave towards them. And because you know, one of the things which I'd like to ask you, because you have been since 11, you've been focused on happiness. What made you feel that when you were happy, and what made you unhappy? Because that helps us to understand happiness even more.
I understood after a few experiences in my life that, of course, happiness is inside you, and not only is inside you, you have the decision and the power to work on it. So what made me happy was to empower myself and get back to myself. Because after few situations when I allow people I gave the power of my happiness to people. That doesn't mean, as you said before, that we don't care about people and the external, but if you are not happy inside, no matter what you have outside, you're not going to be happy. So it made me happy to get back to myself. That's when I really started working on happiness. And I keep looking at, this is Facebook and Instagram, just to make sure that people don't feel we
Yeah.
are not looking at you.
Actually, that's why I was looking at my phone to make sure that
So we are here for Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
So it made me happy to go back, and it makes me unhappy to see so many unhappy people in this world. And one thing that I always ask myself, why is it so hard to go in, to work on ourselves? Why do we show so much resistance? I show it when I came to the training. You know, I used to complain I was so alone, and oh my gosh, why do you need to do the weekends? You know, I always had a comment about it instead of just doing it. It's your own happiness. So why, you know, I decided to do these trainings because I wanted to learn new skills, new techniques. I wasn't even thinking about sharing with others when I started doing Reiki and all the things that I learned here. So why are we so resistant to happiness? Because at the end of the day, it's for your own happiness. Why do we resist to do the work? Sometimes the comments I get from clients and companies, and I don't have time, we don't have money, happiness is not priority right now. And we understand, and I tell people all the time, happiness is linked to productivity, to health. It's not only that you want to be happy, it's better for all of us. So why are we resistant to happiness if it is so important?
I think it is because of what I was saying earlier, that we have been giving lip service to happiness. Our societies have not really given importance to it. That's why if you look at it, who are the people promoting happiness today? All the gurus, not only that, we have to understand that the vibration of the world has changed. Much before, there was a time when the world had to really wake up. It was going through much more darkness. And so people were told, don't have desires. Those were the messages we would get. Just do what you're asked to do. I think that was a time when we were meant to just focus. But suddenly the world has changed. And the gurus are now, and all the elders and all the coaches and everyone's understanding that without feeling happy, you don't have the motivation to do anything else. So I think when you ask why happiness, is because happiness gives you the motivation to keep doing the other things which are definitely necessary and important. So it's not like you're seeking happiness, but once you've got it, it becomes your tool, it becomes your skill, and it becomes your strength.
And why are we resistant to get into that?
Just because we've been told it's not really important. And every time we show, see, how do we show happiness? We show it by laughing and that people think, oh, this person's just light-hearted. You won't believe it, but when I have a certain feeling of happiness all the time. So I smile a lot. And I would smile even in my office. And I remember somebody asking me once, why are you smiling? What's happening? I'm saying, I don't know, I guess I'm smiling because I'm happy. But people feel that when there's stress and strain, if you're a serious person and serious about your work, you can't possibly be happy. So we do have, as a society, many wrong ideas about happiness. We don't think that someone who's serious about their work can be happy.
Yes.
Which is actually, from what you're showing people, exactly the opposite, right?
Yes.
So I know that you've had experience with teaching people, and what has been your experience?
Also, yeah, not only the concept, that also that we feel like, one time a company wanted to hire me and they said, you know, you just make it nice and happy, and you know, we just want to dance. It's the concept of happiness is a moment, which is it could be a moment, but it's more than a moment. It's a state of mind. And it doesn't have to be that you are jumping and laughing. You know, I was crying a few days ago because sometimes you just need to cry. And it's part of life. That doesn't mean I'm not happy. Because I cultivate and I work on my happiness every day. But the happiness I talk to people is the opposite. Is that you embrace all the feelings and emotions of your life. But then you always go back to happiness because it's right there with you all the time because you have worked on it. And the experience I get when people say yes, because the first step is say yes. Just say yes to happiness. Because we were talking, someone who might be here with us, Sarai, sent me something today, which is not a coincidence, about the concept of healers. Not that I like to be called healer, but she just shared a post. And healers are people who have made the decision to heal, because we all have stories in our life. We all have had moments of suffering. No one is exempt from not being happy, but you decide whether you want to be happy or not and work on it. And in between, some of us, we saw the benefit and we said, I want people to feel the same way. I want people to also experience what I'm experiencing right now. And that's what I do. And it's beautiful when people say yes to happiness, especially when you hear their stories. Because all of us that have been in service, we know, and all of us, we also have had stories ourselves. In our stories, moments that we have faced, a lot of challenges in our life, and it's so amazing how you see the pain transforming in happiness. And I'm here to tell you, and it's very serious, the happiness that we talk about is that you, no matter what has happened in your life, we are happy here because we made a decision, not because we have an easy life and we don't have problems and we don't have anything to worry about. It's just that we decide every day to wake up, and no matter what, we're gonna be happy. And I promise you, happiness can be learned. And that's why we create these spaces, and that's why now I get to have the community I have of people who are so committed to helping others, because we have been helped. Menashe helped me, other people helped me to find my happiness, and now I want people to also experience that no matter what. And there are different ways to find happiness, and like I have a method that I share with people. You have different things that you share with the people you work. What has been your journey, and what are the things that you have used or that you have found useful for your search of happiness?
One of the things I've realized is, once again, to see what happiness is not, and that's what you were also referencing. People think that it's only about laughing or it's just about fun. I think people mix up fun and happiness. Mm-hmm. It's not about drinking and getting drunk and then smiling. It's not like that. It's, in fact, very often I say that sometimes when you're meditating and you feel that bliss and you can feel such a high, that starts giving you all the tool, not just the tools, it's like the seeds of happiness. It starts sowing the seeds of happiness inside you. That's what I felt. Mm. I used to have so much of pain in my life about many things. I could feel the bliss if I meditated, but I couldn't feel that happiness. Mm. So it took me a long time to really reach this place where I really feel that gentle happiness. Happiness can be such a gentle kind of a feeling, a gentle kind of a sense. You can reach into it from happiness or from the fun kinds of things, or from anywhere. Mm-hmm. So when you told me that you have found 7 steps of happiness, I love that. I love that idea. I don't think that I directly teach happiness, but if you tell me that what you learned when I was, whatever you learned from me, I think the reason it made you feel more happy is because it makes you in touch with yourself. The important thing about all these tools and techniques is that it helps you to find a path to yourself. If you're not happy, you're actually scared of yourself. You're scared to find what you may be hiding inside yourself. So you keep going to the outside things, to the fun things, to keep hiding. What am I hiding? And actually, when you realize that what you're hiding is so much joy and a release of fear and all the other emotions which otherwise can stress you and strain you and drain you, mm-hmm. then you find that pool of happiness. Mm-hmm. And I think what you were also saying is like it becomes like a center for you. So that if you're feeling the other emotions, which is fine because all emotions give us energy, but you know that you can come back to that state from which you can then start working. Mm-hmm. Don't you also find, Andreina, that when you have found this happiness inside you, you now are, the people around you also are changing?
Yes. And that's why I go to companies and I work with people, because it's amazing, and it happened to me, and that's when I said I need to tell people. We all need to be happy, because of course I was very depressed. I started working on myself, and then I realized there is a way out. Doesn't mean I cannot promise you a perfect life. We know that, but I can promise you there is a way out. And it's beautiful when you see how you transform your life and everything around you transforms. How many people I have that they have the bad boss, and you know, we always have someone that we don't like or a challenge in our life, and then when you realize you have the power, you have the control, then you work on yourself and everything in your life starts changing for better. So it's because either you see it in a different way, you have changed, and so people treat you in a different way. It could be many reasons why it changes.
Yeah.
And that's why it's so important to
I'm laughing because I was looking at Instagram so that I don't, we don't sort of neglect that, and
we're really,
it's just fun.
This
See,
is
these things also. The fun is also happiness.
In another life, we would have this fun wouldn't have happened. I tell you, people who know me, technologists know my superpower. And I'm here. Whatever happens because we're here for you. We're here to contribute to your happiness in whatever way we can. So what has been the thing that you feel that made you, okay, I'm gonna go this route? Because you said to me one time that you were not that spiritual being. And
no, I was always spiritual. I was just not going after happiness because I thought, it's too light. I thought exactly like how I know people around me think also now. But I remember one very interesting thing which I want to share. I remember being in my garden. I say garden, I know people say yard. And I realized one day, yes, it's very true that you don't need anything outside you to be happy. And this is important, and I want to share this. I know that we are spiritually told that happiness is inside you and outside doesn't matter. But we all know that outside does matter. And when we are in a certain state, we can't find it outside, and so it starts troubling us. And like I said earlier, that's when you have to change something inside you. So one day I found myself realizing that it's easy for me to find the spiritual bliss and happiness, and it's so joyful for me when I'm grounded and in touch with nature. I'm very, very happy. I also know how to stay calm and peaceful when everything around me is chaotic. But I'm not enjoying this life, this earthly life. It's not fun for me. And it's also I'm not really finding happiness in things. So I'm not attached to things, I'm not attached to people. And I told myself, if I want to keep working in this life, because all of us have come here with a certain purpose, then I must find happiness also in the circumstances of this life. What we may consider material or what we may consider superficial, it is important. Finding happiness in the relationships you have with your spouse or your partner or your friend or your family and your house. And then I started understanding that yes, but the beauty, when you have worked on yourself, when you've got all that spiritual energy, because that is an energy. The moment I thought that, I realized, why have I thought it? Why has this thought come to me? It's because now the happiness of this world will start coming to me. I will start seeing it in the physical, material things in my life. And actually, this is the secret of happiness. That just be aware and open to all these tiny little thoughts that come to you. Don't think that they're coming from your selfishness, because like you were saying earlier, sometimes as a parent or as a person, you feel you don't have the right to be happy. I remember as a child feeling guilty, and even as a young person, because so many people around us are hungry and thirsty and starving and lacking in something that we had. And I realized, no, if you feel guilty, then you're not grateful for what you've been given. And so you won't be able to give anything to people. If you have something, share it. But don't feel guilty that you have it. So all these little lessons that I've got in my life have helped me to change my thought process. And I feel that one of the most important things to have this feeling of happiness and sustained happiness is to change the way we think.
Yeah, that's my step number one. And it's funny because I have a client who says, oh yeah, I have a psychologist that says the same. Yeah, we are all here for the same reason. We all want to be happy. And I'll share what I have learned in my life, what I can teach you, or what not teach you, or share with you. And Menashe will share what she knows is best or has worked for her, and hoping that it works for you. And we are all here to share, because one thing that I have learned in my life is that competition doesn't take you anywhere. You know, and that's something that we were taught. You know, that you have to compete, you have to fight, you have to be the best one. I'm not saying don't be the best one, but it's so much easier when you create community, when you help each other. And that's what I have learned. One of the greatest things that I have learned from Menashe is that community is something that really we all need support, and we can make things better and easier when we support each other. And especially right now, how many people feel lonely? Just yesterday, so many people were reaching out to me saying, I'm crying, I feel sad, I don't know what's going on. This is taking so long. In some countries, it's really bad. Still, they don't, you know, it's getting worse. And so how do we make sure that we're better? Because happiness is inside, as Menashe said, and I tell people all the time, it starts with you. But also, the moment you open yourself for the others, you see a different opportunity in life. And what is great about helping, if you want to even go further and help people, when you help people, and it's this science-based, everything that I share all the time, is that it helps you with happiness. Because who doesn't feel better when you help someone? It gives you perspective, it gives you meaning, it makes you feel like, wow, you know. So what you said about what you have, just share it. A smile doesn't have to be money. Sometimes we think it has to be money. It could be time, a smile. How you doing? Are you feeling lonely? How you dealing with? How you coping with the situation? So much that is needed right now. So many people having a real hard time. People who have lost people close to them, and they couldn't even say goodbye. You know, we all know. We don't need to go there. It's challenging right now. So I invite you to open yourself to new ways to find happiness. It doesn't have to be the way we're talking here. We are not trying to even impose any ways. We're just sharing, but just open yourself to the possibility of, what about if I try something else? Because sometimes we want to change in our life, but we keep doing the same. And that's something that I don't know about you, but with people, is that we all resist to change. And sometimes we want the quick fix.
I think one of the reasons also we resist is because we think that if we are happy, like in the situations you were mentioning nowadays, then we are being selfish. But actually what happens is that if we keep filling ourselves with unhappiness and with the pain as pain, then instead of going outward, we start going more and more inward. And so if you think of the world as happy and unhappy, like the happiness quotient or the unhappiness quotient, then you are actually contributing to the pain of the world. Whereas we have all come here to contribute to the light of the world, to the love of the world. When you're happy, you're more loving, you're more light, you're more giving, you're more grateful. So you start, and when you are, we all know that. If you're if you're around an unhappy person, you feel unhappy. So in the same way, when you're around a happy person, you're happy. Not only that, but as we've seen, even with different kinds of tools, you can use a pendulum, you can use your own sense, or you can use dowsing sticks. You see that the aura expands so much with happiness, joy, all these interrelated emotions. And the other way, the aura contracts. Mm-hmm. So when you don't have a reason to be unhappy, and you hear that somebody else is in pain, that actually, it may seem paradoxical, but it's exactly the time when you go into your happy center and start radiating that out with love and compassion, which are all the sisters of happiness, and which can only attach to happiness. They cannot attach to pain. They cannot attach to anything except the positive emotions. Mm-hmm. So I think one of the reasons, because very rightly you're saying, why are we resisting? I also feel that actually people are not resisting the concept of happiness any longer. I think they are feeling that It's not something that I need to learn. It's not something that I need to work on. I can just feel happy if I want to. But actually, it's not. Those of us who have been through, like we have been talking, I mean, to have that sustained feeling, to understand why, because our brain does have to understand why. You know, all of us have been educated and overeducated. So we need those logical reasons. Why happiness? Well, now we know why happiness. Because it helps not only you but also people. But also we have to know why learn happiness. You know? So when you have taught your 7 steps, and I'm trying to learn all the 7 steps, then what have you found the difference when people have gone through the course?
Well, first of all, they understand it's all about them.
Yeah.
They stop blaming others. Because as we have been saying, it doesn't mean that the outside doesn't matter, but if you don't start with yourself, nothing's going to change. So they start working on themselves. They go back to themselves, so they start loving themselves more. Therefore, they don't accept things that they used to accept in their life, relationships that are not helpful for them, experiences that are not positive for them. So the changes is that they, and it's, as I said, it's just gaining tools and techniques and to better manage life. Because I cannot promise anyone that it's going to be perfect from now on, but to always have a way to go back to happiness. So what I see from people is, one, that they understand they are responsible for their own happiness. 2, they see the changes in the transformation around them, because people start recognizing, like, wow, what's going on with you? And then the boss talks to them differently, and things are changing, and then they see that they can sustain it.
Yeah.
That no matter what happens, they deal with challenges of life in a better way.
Yeah.
So that's the idea, and of course now I integrate the whole energy work that I have learned from you to help them to release and kind of get to in a balanced space when there is so much going on. Because all of us were dealing with stress, anxiety. Some people are not sleeping well at night. Some people are depressed. So how do you even go to happiness when you are in a very bad place? So we use different techniques to help people to kind of navigate that first, and then let's start talking about. And it's beautiful. I have had people who have come depressed, anxious, big time right now, and how they can start seeing the changes right away. And that's when you told me one time that, as I said it before, that you understood that the importance of Reiki and all that, because some of our pains and things that we have carried in our life are so deep that we need something to help us to kind of get it out there, and then we can work on in a conscious way. But Reiki is magical, and I see how in one session sometimes people kind of, wow, I feel so happy already. I kind of have an understanding. I'm not telling people that in one session your life is going to change forever, but I have seen transformations. Yeah. So I'm not promising anything, but at the same time, if that was all that you needed, maybe that was the moment. And some people, we all work in different things, and then maybe one session just give you that final touch to kind of really see a transformation in your life. But this is a work that we continue doing forever, because every day in my case, want to be better, not only for myself, now I have a commitment to people. So do you want to do a final? We have been talking.
Not yet. I'm still going to say one thing, because you've been talking about Reiki, and it's always something, even when you've done it for many years, and you forget that the first thing with the Reiki principle, the Gokai, and the first line is the secret art of inviting happiness. So actually, it's not a new thing. For years and years, the elders, the spiritual masters, the gurus who have come into this world, the light beings, the ascended, they've all been saying the real thing is happiness. And you know why I don't want to stop? Because I want to ask a question. Okay, beautiful. Yes, Pauesco. Wants a session. Perfect.
And
I want to ask the people who are on the call, what makes you happy? What do you think about happiness?
And let's see.
I want to ask the people who are here.
On Facebook too, if anyone has a question. me see here. Any comments, any questions that you have?
Well, I'm getting, one session of Reiki gave me an immense sense of love and gratitude.
Oh.
Yeah. Well, okay, that's beautiful. We have beautiful people in the group. And you're right, maybe we have spoken a lot. Yeah. I want to say one final thing.
Yeah.
Because we all grow older and things keep changing in our lives. And one day you realize that every time you see something different, you say, really? Really this has happened? And you start seeing that you have wonder also. And that was able to come up, which is the wonder of the child. When you've discovered that happiness, then all these other wonderful emotions also start coming. And so then the happiness keeps getting more and more food.
Yes, that's why we
it
keep
keeps getting fed.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's magical.
And then when people will ask you how you can do so many things, you'll be able to tell them. It's because this is the energy that you have. This is what powers your motor.
Yeah. And
Now
she
you
does
say the
everything.
last word.
Yeah. And that's one thing that I have learned from you too. That the wonder, the little things, and as again, we can talk about happiness forever here, but you can be a child again and enjoy life and the simple things of life when you really do the work. And life could be terrible around you, and I see so many people still smiling and finding ways to be happy. That doesn't mean that we ignore what's going on. No, it's the opposite. We really feel the pain because we're so close to people, and we work with so many, and we hear so many horrible stories. It's not that we don't care, it's that more and more we feel more we feel more the need to be happier for ourselves and for you and for the world. So my invitation is that you find a way to improve your life, to change your life, there is never enough happiness. As Meenakshi said, it gets better and better as you work on happiness.
Yeah.
I promise you that if you create a space for you, for learning, for transforming your life for a better one, you can find so many amazing reasons to continue this journey. I wish you not only just the happiest life ever, that we, all of us, we create the consciousness to create a better world. It's an invitation. I feel responsible to tell everyone wherever I go that this time is a crucial one. It's not only, I want to be happy. Yeah, you need to be happy. You want to be happy. You deserve to be happy. But it's a duty right now to be happy because there is so much going on, so much pain. Take the time to look for the people around you and to just say hi, to make sure they're fine, and to do something for them. I promise you giving is the best. I promise you happiness can be learned. And thank you so much, Meenakshi, for inviting me to your house today and to doing this Facebook, Instagram. We had an assistant behind the scenes who helped us too. So thank you so much for joining us. And I'll see you next Friday with more about happiness. And continue with your happy hour and have a very happy weekend. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Bye. We're gonna end here. Bye, Instagram people. Thank you so much.